Hi everyone, before this video gets started, I want to make a point. Yes, Robin Lehner's actually gotten a lot of backlash over the last few days, week, and I do think Robin Lehner's made mistakes, and he will admit to making mistakes. And regardless of how you feel about him, I don't think you can deny that he has had a positive impact on hockey. Maybe he's had a negative impact. Maybe that's your opinion, but he has had a positive impact. And I had this video planned for about a month. And honestly, I talked to ISLES girl who I interviewed in this video, really good interview, down to earth. And we had a really good conversation about her experience with Robin Lehner. And she's a diehard Islanders fan. So I do think that this video was a very good conversation, and I'm glad I had it. And I just wanted to make a little bit of a disclaimer at the start of the video saying, if you hate Robin Lehner, that's on you. Don't be toxic. Don't attack people. Don't give death threats. I'm honestly tired of it. So I wanted to put this right at the start of the video to say enough with it. And you know what? I hope you enjoyed this video because I enjoyed having this conversation. And I think a lot of positive has come out of it with Robin Lehner talking about mental health through hockey and in life. And this interview and this video proves that. Hey everyone, I am here with Kim, also known as ISLES Girl, and we're going to talk about Robin Lehner today. And I brought on Kim here today because she has a personal, she met Lehner. She is an ISLES fan, a diehard ISLES fan, so obviously she has that experience of Lehner's defining moment in his career, his defining year, I would say. Kim, thank you for coming on. Talk a little bit about what your perception of Lehner was before he came to the Islanders, and then how you felt about him during that whole year, and obviously after what was his worst season with the Sabres.
Oh, absolutely. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to talk hockey again. I've missed it so much. When Robin Lehner first initially, I heard he was coming to the Islanders, I was pretty neutral about him. I didn't have much background about his own background, I guess you could say. What I learned about him was actually through word of mouth of Sabres fans. One of the Sabres fans, a girl I knew from college, was actually really, really happy to get rid of him. I found she was like, oh, good luck with that. Have fun. Didn't care. She's like, he sucks at shootouts, by the way. She was happy to see him gone. I was very, very intrigued by that. I didn't know why she was so happy to get rid of him. So I started looking him up. And then on YouTube, I saw people posting Robin Lehner anger compilations. And I was like, whoa. I was like, what? And, to be honest, his anger compilations to me was just, putting his heart and soul out into the ice. He's just passionate. And I was like, you know what? I kind of like that. And coming into this, I helped my friend Gary. He does a radio show. He was talking about, what do you think about the goalies this season? And I went, we're really bumping our defense up. I said, it's basically a coin flip. It's a 50-50 shot. He can either be really great or he can not do so well. But, whatever way it goes, we got two goalies. Let's go for it.
I was looking at a stat. I think he's only one of three goalies over the last 5 seasons to have over a .920 save percentage. So, that says something. So he had the one bad year. He has played better in a tandem. I think that's shown that, even with Chicago, when he was splitting time with Crawford, he was playing well. Besides the Islanders, Lehner's played for some very bad defense.
Yeah.
Groups. The Sens, no. The Sabres, really bad. And then he goes to the Islanders and puts up those numbers. I think it was a .930 save percentage. He wins the Bill Masterson Award. Perseverance, coming back from literally his worst season with the Sabres, .908 save percentage. They had a really bad year. A lot of people were blaming him for that season because Sabres fans believed that they had a chance to make the playoffs. All the blame was going on Lehner. I even remember the one game he gets pulled against the Leafs in that season after allowing 3 goals on whatever it was, 17 shots. There was criticism on him because he was talking to a fan on the glass. There was just always criticism on Lehner for every little thing. They were picking on him for every little thing at that point. So then when he went to the Islanders, there was just no expectations for him. It was just you're going to be in a tandem here with Greiss. You're going to just play in front of and again, I don't think the Islanders have ever had, or at least for a while, have had a star defense, but their whole core, they're all 6 defensemen that are in that lineup are usually very solid and usually very consistent. I can look at the Islanders team and I don't think they have a Norris candidate any year, but they're really solid up and down. And especially when you bring in a guy like Barry Trotz, who has that philosophy. So exactly. Okay. So I do think for a guy like Lehner, and I just want you to talk about, because for me, the big quote, and I'll always remember this quote, and I think you can resonate with it. I'm not ashamed to say that I'm mentally ill, but that doesn't mean that I'm mentally weak. So talk a little bit about that, how Lehner's season connected with you meeting him, and just how that resonates with your struggles and what you've dealt with.
Ooh, oh man.
Maybe emotional, but
I'm gonna try not to cry here. Okay. That quote means the absolute world to me. It resonated with me so much. At school, I'm in a very, very tough nursing program. It's very, you gotta be on top of your game in this program. You just gotta keep moving, basically. Once you're in the front, you just keep running. I was having these episodes. It started getting bad in my freshman year of college. I was having these episodes. It felt like intense deja vu. And it was kind of like freaking me out. And I called my mom. She's like, "Oh, you're just stressed. Take some vitamins. You'll be fine." After my finals of freshman year, it kind of went away. I had some in the summer, but then my sophomore year is when it got really bad with these episodes of deja vu, and it to the point where I was like, my friends started to see it. I used to have it like alone, but my friends started to see it. I was like mumbling, drooling. I started punching myself in the face. And my classmates called the ambulance on me, and I got diagnosed with partial complex seizures. You're like, oh, something's wrong with you now. You're a problem. And it was a big change in my life. Medications, I couldn't drive. And just worried about what other people would think of me. Worried about, keeping it a secret to myself that I had this problem. I didn't want people to treat me differently. I was just scared for so many different reasons. I also felt guilty. Medications aren't cheap. My parents are already helping me pay through school, helping me pay for, hockey. They're helping me enjoy, something I love in my life. And I felt really horrible that now they have to help me pay for my medications. I was just a mess in December of 2018. I don't know what made me reread it. I think someone retweeted it on Twitter, but Robin Lehner's story, his article. And so I reread him coming out with bipolar depression and alcoholism and things like that. And I really started to click with the things he was talking about in that article. I was like, holy crap, I went through the same thing. This is what I thought. And just to see him who could overcome it, it's corny, but like if he could do it, I could do it kind of thing. To see someone who's on a massive stage. You're being looked at by media, you're being looked at by fans, you're being looked at by your team, by your teammates. Just so many people that, are going to judge you, and all they want is point productions and things like that and save percentages. Like, if he can deal with all that and still come out on top, I can get through a tiny nursing program and, battle each day as hard as he can. And it really helped drive me through each and every day, of my own personal battle. Even though it's not the same, it's, fighting my own illness. Watching him win the Masterton, I couldn't have been more excited. I was so freaking happy for him. I have a video, I think, of my parents got me like jumping up and down in the house. And when he said that quote, it became my quote on everything. I have it written down on my phone. I have it written down in my planners. I have it written down in my room. Like, everywhere I can put that quote, I do, because it's a nice reminder just to keep going and just keep trucking along. And he really instilled that in me.
Really appreciate you sharing that. I think I wouldn't say everyone, but I think a lot of people are dealing with something, and everyone has to deal with whatever they're dealing with in a certain way. And I think that quote literally can resonate with so many people.
Yeah, through his story, I've got to talk to so many other people who, love Lehner too, the big Lehner fans. And we've got to talk, like, we're there for each other. I'm like, if you need me, text me and I'll, vent to me, and sometimes use those support outlines. We're fans that have come together, who deal with, similar things, and we've found outlets through each other. So that's a great thing that's also come from being a Lehner fan.
So for Lehner's season with the Islanders, obviously that was a special season for him. It was a special season for a lot of people. And then his speech winning the Bill Masterton. Talk about how then he signs with the Blackhawks, and in December, you went to go see him play. So talk a little bit about that and how much it meant to you to meet him, watch him, to interact with him, all of that.
Yeah, in the April of that year when he was on the Islanders, my grandparents surprised me with the Lehner jersey because I had been dying for one, but I couldn't afford it and all that other stuff. And they got me like crying. And I posted to Twitter, I was like, I'm so excited. And Robin Lehner retweeted it. And that's when, like, I was, like, in tears in the car. And the first time I think, like, he, I guess, noticed me as a fan. When the Islanders just let him walk in the summer, heartbroken. I remember I was at my boyfriend's baseball game. And I just remember hearing my phone buzz and seeing the news. And I was, like, wanting to bawl. I really was hurt by that news. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to support him no matter what jersey he wears. It's about who he is. It's not the team that he plays for. I fell in love with him as a player, not just because he's on the Islanders, but because of the human connection that we've bonded over. And he said that in an interview, and I thought it was 100% true. That's what connected him so much with this fan base, is that human connection. I planned a trip to go to Chicago to watch the Blackhawks play against the New York Islanders, and I was like, oh, this would be really, really fun. I don't really have much experience going away to arenas, and I get to see my favorite player. This is great. So I scheduled the trip. I made a sign that says Long Island will always love Lehner, and I brought it to the game. I made sure I got there super early so I could get in the doors, get to the warm-ups, and I put the sign up, and he did see it on the ice. He nodded it, he like raised his head up and put his stick up to me, acknowledging it, which was amazing. Lehner was a freaking brick wall against the Islanders that night too. We totally lost, but he played amazing. So I was like, you know what? It's a win-win situation. And I was leaving. So my friends, Kelly and Spencer Capitosto, they're friends with him. They had his mask from when he played in the Senators, and they were going to do like a transaction. He wanted it back. And I was like, okay, have fun, And I'm waiting for my Uber. And I get a call from her. And she goes, get your ass back to the arena. I went, what? And she goes, Robin texted us. He wants to meet you. He literally texted them, can you bring Kim too? I was like, what? And she goes, get your ass back here. So I had to run back to the United Center because if you don't know, like, they have like, if you go outside, they have like a little Uber center outside of the arena. Yeah. So I had to run back across the street to the arena. They weren't going to let me in the doors. Security had to be like, no. Security was like, no. Kelly had to come out and be like, you have to let her in. I finally got in. And I was like, to her, I was like, is this a real line now? Is this happening? She goes, yeah. And then I finally got to meet him. He came out, was super nice and courteous. And I didn't even have to tell him who I was or my name. I guess because, I do the blue and orange lipstick.
Yeah.
Kind of knew who I was.
Recognizable, yeah.
Yeah, because he follows me on Twitter. So I'm guessing he knows my, the face.
Yeah.
But I didn't have to tell him anything. And he just gave me, like, the biggest hugs, like, imaginable. And he grabbed me on both shoulders and he goes, I just want you to know that you were strong. I'm sorry. And you can get through anything you set your mind to. Don't let anyone tear you down because you are strong, compassionate, and caring. And you can do anything. You can just do anything in the world. And I will never forget that moment. And he just gave me another hug as I was crying. It's so embarrassing, but I was like crying on his shoulder.
And I even saw the video and you were saying that he gives the best hugs. Like,
oh my God, he does. He was like a giant panda.
Well, that moment was obviously super impactful for you. You were following his story and then you got to meet him, and he, instead of obviously for you seeing all the words that he was sharing, he directly shared the words to you. Everyone can understand that Robin Lehner is his story, at least for now, and I would say going forward and to impact other people, it's bigger than hockey. But I do think people need to recognize how good of a goalie he is.
Like, he's just an insane goalie on top of that. For where he goes next is so difficult because I think he really he wants that first slot. I think he wants to be that starting goaltender and be that goaltender for, a team. He wants to be that, when you think of Vegas, you think of Fleury. You think of Montreal, you think of Price. Things like that. I think he wants to have that. And you know what? I don't blame him. Every player, aspires for that. And he's put up the numbers where I think he could possibly be a goalie like that to a team. It's just finding the right fit.
Well, for me, it's a weird situation because I feel like with Crawford's age, he's like, again, he's getting into his late 30s. So for me, I thought Chicago was like a great
I thought
fit.
That's what they were going to do. They were, because of Crawford with his concussions and things like that. And he's had a lot of, injury history.
Definitely close to retiring.
Yeah, he's close to it. I thought, that was the plan, was like they'd have, Lehner, like next in line kind of thing. But the trade, I don't know what Chicago was thinking, honestly.
So I wonder how the relationship is, because maybe they bring him back. Maybe they have a conversation there. I know there's other situations out there. But, like, if I'm looking at Varlamov's contract, like what the Islanders, Lehner should be getting at least that. Like $5.5 million per. Lehner should be getting at least that. It's a small sample size, but even Lehner, when he stepped in with the Vegas Golden Knights, I think it was in 3 games, he had a .940 save percentage over those 3 games.
Yep.
Like, that says something. Even though it's only 3 games, a small sample size, he had good numbers throughout the rest of the year. Again, over his career, he hasn't played for good teams, good defenses, other than the Islanders, and you saw that firsthand. So
he really just rises to the challenge every single time and kills it. It sucks, like, with the Islanders, because we basically got Varley as a bargaining chip for Sorokin to come over and finally play with us. He was like the enticing piece to finally have Sorokin come over. But man, I just wish there was a way Lehner and Sorokin together, because to me that would be insane.
That'd be your
But
dream
I know it's
scenario.
never gonna happen. That would be my dream scenario, but it's never gonna happen, and I'm really pissed about it.
I will say it is a weird situation that it just seems like it was yesterday when they had Lehner and Greiss, and now Greiss is going to be moving on, and it's going to be Sorokin and Varlamov. It's
so
weird.
It's so weird.
There's not usually that much of a turnaround for goalies, especially in the NHL. You don't really see both goalies just gone in that short of a span.
No.
Especially when it's two very good goaltenders.
We've just not been that lucky with goalies, and we finally had this goaltending tandem with Lehner and Greiss that I was like so excited for, and we just changed everything, and I was like, what are you doing?
Where can everyone find you? Social media, YouTube, all that?
Yeah, so Twitter is going to be at ISLES3, ISLES Girl 3. You can see all my tweets and stuff there about mostly Islanders hockey, but I will do some things around the league here and there. I was basically a girl and was wanting to express my love of hockey, and being a girl in hockey, it's kind of hard to do that and find other women who have and share that experience. And around me, I had my family, but I really wanted, someone else's perception, someone else's opinion. I wanted to just get, talk about, my team and share it with other people. So I really started to do like Twitter live sessions, being like, oh, I'll get like 5 people. Well, 5 people turned into 10, and it just, it got 15 to 20, and it kept going. And people really started to connect with me and my opinions, especially because Islanders hockey is my specialty, obviously. And I've been to fans at games who have been like, yo, you keep me up to date on everything that is Isles news and whatever is going on. And that really means a lot to me, because everything in my life is Islanders hockey. So that's what I do. On YouTube, I do a podcast. It's kind of paused at the moment because there's no real news except for like Sorokin to report about. But do a podcast on Islanders hockey and things that are happening around the league. And then on Twitter, I just like to spread hockey positivity and Islanders hockey. Then you can catch my YouTube or my podcast at the same username, ISLES3. Definitely like to talk hockey on there. I've been having a little trouble with YouTube lately, so I would suggest going to the Twitter. Yeah.
YouTube can be a real L sometimes.
Absolutely.
Anything else you want to add before we head out?
Yeah, Lehner jersey from Chicago is right there, signed by him, and it's my pride and joy, and he has helped me through so much mental illness. If you are struggling from mental illness, I just say, from Robin Lehner's words, don't wait, get the help you need, and don't be afraid to ask for guidance or help, or just don't be afraid to vent with someone. Trust, it's hard to trust someone, and it's hard to, say these personal matters openly. Trust me, I know. But just don't be afraid to get that help you need, because it helps so much in the end.
Talk to someone. Don't hold it in. I think that's the worst thing you can do, is holding it in and just being quiet about it. And Lehner definitely was one of many that has learned from that. Being quiet and just keeping it in is the worst thing ever. So thank you, Kim, for coming on. Of course, drop a like for this video and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much.
See ya.